Thanks again for tuning in to another episode of Future Live Musicians. My name is Bobby James, and in this video, I'm going to show you how to trigger your audio and visuals at the same time, using only the Roland SPD SX sample pad and ABLETON Live. You will also learn how to add clicks to your audio files so that you and your band can stay tight. This is a super efficient system because you don't actually need an external mixer. It's perfect for big shows when there are visual screens available. You can use this system to tell the story of each song, work with custom themes for the night, and present your band logo. If you want to make an impact on an event, this is Headliner Production. Future Live Musicians, let's go from studio to stage. So let's start by powering on the Roland SPD SX. Once that fires up, we're gonna go into kit mode and we're gonna scroll over and find setup, into option, into USB mode. Wave manager shows up. Let's choose audio MIDI interface. Plug in the USB, open up ABLETON Live, preferences, audio, SPD SX for input and output, MIDI in the input tab, SPD SX, MIDI. Back to audio, 512 samples. Clips view, delete reverb and delay sends. Create 2 audio tracks with no input. Name 1 tracks and 2 visuals. Create 2 MIDI tracks with no input. Name 1 markers and 2 click. Rearrange in the following order. Change project tempo to new track tempo. Place marker at bar 1 and name it title of new track. Drag your new master track onto tracks channel. Warp and repitch mode in the sample editor. Enter tracks BPM. Placed first downbeat at bar 3. Activate metronome. Check for correct sync. Check in a few places to make sure that it's not drifting. Deactivate click. Click MIDI track and insert percussion core library from drum section in ABLETON browser. Insert a 1-bar MIDI clip at marker 1. Draw in clav and woodblock notes on quarter notes. Stretch MIDI clip to entire track and check for proper sync. Check in a few places. Drag new visual onto track. Go to View, Open Video window, and check for proper sync. Sample editor, warp mode, repitch, enter BPM of track. Adjust if necessary. When sync is achieved, sample editor, mute audio from visual. Check in a few places. Select Tracks channel and insert a mono utility on track 1 and mix track volume fader to -3 dB and pan 50 to the right. Mix the click channel to -5 dB and pan 50 to the left. These next few steps allow us to create a file in which we'll be able to separate the click and the tracks from each other. This allows us to keep the SPD SX as the standalone player without needing an external mixer to play the click back for other band members. The SPD SX comes with a click feature built in, but I think this is a much tighter way on a track-per-track building a set basis. Hit spacebar to play and check that the tracks are coming out the right and the click is going to the left. Okay, so we're getting close. The next thing that we want to do is we want to create a MIDI clip in our top markers channel. And we want to extend that to include all the information, the click, the visual, and the audio or the track. Make sure you tighten up the ends and the intro points and hit spacebar just to make sure you got that first click and the visuals coming in. Now we're going to get ready to export. So we wrap our loop markers around the MIDI clip. I like to name the marker MIDI clip just so it's a nice easy way for us to choose to export if you have to do different versions of the file. Head up to File, Export Audio and Video, and we're going to render the track as a master. I'm going to bounce it to 44.1 16-bit. And at the same time, we're going to want to create two files here. So we're going to create a QuickTime video. Click the Edit tab, make sure it's QuickTime 720 or 1280 by 720. This is a happy medium for processing for us. Click Export, and we're going to name these files. This is going to create two files. We're going to place them in a bounce folder. We're going to name it with your track title, BPM, and this is important, CLBR, click left, band right, and 16-bit. So one of those is going to be a movie file, and one of them is going to be an audio file or a WAV. We're going to need both. Save project and repeat this for each track. There we go, fastest computer in the world. So when adding new tracks, I like to start with about 8 bars of space between them. So select the automation to enter the new tempo in the master song tempo lane in the master track. Show all parameters, hit song tempo, create an automation point. Control click on Mac to edit the automation value precisely. You can enter your exact tempo right there. So our next track is going to be 128. Then we just go back to your file finder and grab your audio track and drag it onto the tracks again and repeat the process. Your click track should be locked to that new tempo that you entered in the automation lane. Don't forget to use repitch for warp. Now I've already created a project here that has the tracks done. So I've got 3 visuals set up, 3 click tracks, and 3 of our master tracks all synced. So we're going to move nice and quick with this part. That's just kind of showing you what it's going to look like. And now you want to select save. And we're going to move into the next section. So the next few steps that we have to take care of right now is we got to change the SPD SX back to Wave Manager. We're going to open up the SPD SX editor software. We're going to choose the kit that we were just working on, the BYD LOWU, and we're just going to go ahead and duplicate that kit because we've already got a lot of the playback properties set up the way we need them. So bang on your drum, I feel the love when you love somebody. And we're going to change the kit subname to FLM Visuals Stage. Now we're going to go back to our Finder and we're going to drag our newly created WAV files, click left, band right WAV files, onto the same pad configuration that we just created in the previous kit, the stereo kit, for the standalone version. In the SPD SX editor software, we're going to choose the Midi tab, and we're going to hit the first pad with the boom on it up in the top left, and we're going to make sure that that Midi note is set to 0. Then we're going to go to bang on your drum and set that to 1. I Feel the Love is going to be set to MIDI note 2, and When You Love Somebody is going to be set to MIDI note 3. Let's rename our kit and click Save. Once that's done saving, we're going to close down the SPD SX editor software, and we're going to eject the drive from our computer. We're going to unplug the USB, and then we're going to change the SPD SX back to an audio MIDI interface. Once that's all done, we're going to plug the USB back into the laptop, and we're going to get ready for the next stage. And that's going to be mapping our MIDI markers to the pads in the SPD SX. So it's time to open up Ableton Live again with our SPD SX as our audio MIDI interface. Let's open up our last visuals project that we were just working on. We're going to save it as the SPD SX visuals stage project. Let's go ahead and delete the audio and the MIDI click track while we keep our visuals track. We're going to go to our browser and we're going to drag our newly created .move file right over top of the old visuals track. And we're going to line that right up. Let's make sure that our click is coming out the left and our track is coming out the right. And let's do that for all 3 songs right now. That's what we're working on. Make sure the first downbeat happens at the downbeat of the visual. And you got a little click track striped in there. And remember, we're dragging the .move files over, not the waves. I like to color code everything, so I just selected all the tracks there and made it all the same color. So all my tracks are blue. Let's create a little bit of space at the beginning of the track here, pace time. We're going to insert a MIDI clip. We're going to call this logo loop 4-bar. Let's name that logo loop. I always color code that white so I know that that's the beginning of the show. And I'm going to wrap our loop markers around that. And we're going to create a marker right at the front, right at the start of that. And we're going to rename that to logo loop. So let's enter MIDI map mode up in the top right hand of Ableton. Select our first logo loop marker and select our first pad. Select our second marker, bang on your drum, and map the 7th pad to that. Select I Feel the Love marker, map the 8th pad, and select When You Love Somebody marker and map the right pad. You map them by selecting them and then striking the pad. Let's check out some of these pads, make sure they're working. One thing you want to do is you want to shut off the quantize in the top of Ableton right there. Boom. Make it to none. Let's hit the 7th pad, bang on your drum, boom, there you go. We're going to have to cinch that click up a little bit, drag that to right to the beginning of the marker, try it again. Okay, so you can hear that flamming. So a great little trick to this is to go down to the sample editor and hit warp, and we're going to hit leader, so that it is the leader and the tempo of Ableton will follow that. And we're going to adjust our sample in point just like we did in the SPD SX, but we're doing it with our Ableton Move file. Now just a tiniest bit of adjustment, and that's going to allow us to kind of get that click lined up a little bit better. If it sounds like it's phasing, that's probably as tight as you're going to get it. So there you go. Listen, listen, listen. That's getting tight. That's nice. Let's go through and do that to all the different tracks. Remember, sample editor, warp, leader, and adjust the sample start point. Just get it as close as you can. Go through and do all the tracks. And your visuals should line up real nice. There you go. I'm just trying to do an extreme forward and backward just so you can kind of hear that, what it's supposed to sound like when it hits. You just kind of find a sweet spot for it. It doesn't have to be exact. There you go. Those visuals are nice. It looks good. Nice and synced up. Okay. So now that we have our SPD SX talking to Ableton and our MIDI notes from the pad, they should correspond with the markers in Ableton. So let's hit this one. That should jump to our logo loop. And the next pad right there should start our click and bang on your drum. The next one, I Feel the Love. And the next one, When You Love Somebody. Okay, you can see that they're all jumping to different points in Ableton in the arrangement view there. So now the visuals haven't started yet because we need to start Ableton to play the visuals in arrangement view. So let's jump back to our intro logo. That has been looped. And there we go. This should loop continuously until we hit another pad. Well, the band wants a count in, and it's go time. So let's start up the set. And there we are, bang on your drum. Visuals are tight. All right, and so now Christina wants to change up the set order, and let's go to the last pad, When You Love Somebody. And let's start I Feel the Love. All right, so those visuals, they're all syncing up really nice. Bang on your drum. I Feel the Love, let's go. And When You Love Somebody. All right, so we want to wrap up the set, and we want to end with our logo loop, and bam, there we are. Show is over. So now we can say thanks to everybody. Look at that. Look how fast that is. As long as you got Ableton Quantize shut off, you can really move around these pads quick. So just keep building your sets. Fill up those pads, fill up those visuals. There you go.
Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure that you leave a comment, like, hit the subscribe button, and I hope to see you all triggering visuals at your next show, taking your stage production to the next level. Make sure to check out some of the other tutorials in this series too. They are packed full of useful stage tips and some of the industry's finest. Future live musicians, let's go from studio to stage.